We're live on a Friday. I'm Rich Lieberman, and this is the Bay Area Media Pulse. And, every now and then I kind of do a whole lot. I don't look at notes. I'm not bragging that I don't look at notes. It's just that a lot of these, and every fucking person this day on this planet seems to be doing podcasts. And, they have their little notes and their cute little backgrounds, which usually is a bookcase with books that most of which they probably haven't even read. And I like the sports guys. They're the guys whose background they'll have like little bobbleheads of like football players and baseball players, maybe a basketball player, a hockey player, as if to let us all know that, I'm a sports guy. So I'm going to have little bobbleheads and cute little jerseys and tell everybody that I'm a sports person. Yeah. God forbid, just a plain background, but they have to have the cute little graphics and stuff and the bobbleheads. And the same thing with the news people, with the bookcase and the books that most of them have never even read, right? Because most people don't even read a book anymore. They read those little machines, the Kindles, whatever they call them, right? Okay. So this, that, and the other. It's Friday. And I've been out and about up here trying to think of what I was going to talk about. And there's so many things. And I don't do a lot of retorts or responses. But when I get really irritated, and that's quite a lot these days, as you get older, you get more irritated and frustrated. And I have no patience, folks. I really don't. Um, Pardon me, I have a little update about something too. So naturally, these people that don't reflect or read, they just automatically respond about something I said. And I want to clear all this up. Not that I have to, but I want to. So with regards to I did a broadcast the other day with regards to the Giants broadcast hierarchy, apparently feeling that perhaps they sold their own product short and put these yahoos on, the so-called D-listers named Joe Rizzo and FP, how the hell did I get this job, Santangelo. And somebody, and then it was echoed by somebody else, said I'm a frustrated Dodgers fan. Folks, I don't look at baseball anymore. In fact, I've become pretty much not into sports. I don't even, I watch a few games every now and then. And it's mostly football, basketball, like everybody else in this country, actually the world. I'm not much of a baseball guy anymore. It's just, first of all, way too many games. And it doesn't do anything for me. And believe me, over the years, folks, I had a pass. I could go all the games, get in for free, park free, eat like a big fat slob free. And I've been invited to games, not the Giants. Geez, I wonder why. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. I don't care. I'm not a Dodgers fan. I can't stand and actually root against the team that used to be in Oakland. So I'm taking quite a bit of not guilty pleasure in the fact that you want to talk about bad karma going to Sacramento, and who knows if they're even going to go to Vegas. They probably are. But anyway, I'm not a fan. Things that I broadcast are what I hear, unless it's an opinion or I'm talking like I am now. And I haven't really done a lot of research on certain things, and I won't talk about it then. Today I'm going to do kind of like a comprehensive talk, and that's why it's called this, that, or the other. I'm not on a time limit. And if I think I'm making sense, which is most of the time I'm not just kidding. Uh, got a few of you are nodding. You tell you asshole, you never make sense. Yeah, but you're watching. Go figure. Which, by the way, I hate that phrase too. Go figure. Or my other one is, what's the one? Oh, meh. What is that? MEH. I guess it's a computer thing. After all, that's what controls the world these days. Computers and these fucking little emojis. God forbid we can't say what's on our mind. We have to use these little stupid, they look like little suns, like the sun up in the sky. And then we have the little, happy, sad, indifferent, yeah, emoji. Wonderful. As our society further declines, we can't even talk about how we're feeling. We have to use little stupid circular figures called emojis. Oh, that's a Brian Murphy deal too. He likes to talk about, and I'll get into that in a second too, because I got a lot of feedback off of that, which was what it's intended for, and I'll talk about that in a second. But what was I talking about? So I'm not a Dodgers fan. I don't root for the Giants. I don't root against them, but I'm not a Giant. I grew up an athletics fan and Raiders, and then fuck them now. They're paying the price too by going to Las Vegas. Great, making gobs of money, but they're not the old Raiders. The Warriors, I like basketball, but look, I am not a sports guy. So, on the record, do I every now and then watch certain games or ice hockey or what have you? Yeah, like everybody else, but I'm not a diehard. So, that Giants, and it wasn't anti-Giants. It was just mentioning the fact, and of course, you will not get it anywhere else. You might say, "Well, they're the reporters, they'll give it to it." No, they won't. These guys and some women, they go there. Most of what's on their mind is to eat good, and the Giants and all these other teams, they give out a good spread. 49ers. Oh my God. I will never forget that feast. I had Candlestick when they were playing there one time. They had scrambled eggs, they had breakfast and lunch and pizza and burgers and all these people. Some of them were actually taking some of the food and putting it in their little grab bag. What a surprise. So that's why they're there. Some of them profess to be journalists. Great. Again, folks, they call it the toy department because precisely it is the toy department. All right. Brian Murphy. So I don't have a grudge against Brian Murphy, nor KNBR. People say, well, why don't you always, you're always picking on KNBR. Why don't you ever pick on 95.7 The Game? I've picked on 95.7 The Game. By the way, the 95.7 The Game is the FM Odyssey outlet on 95.7. And they every now and then compete with KNBR. And KNBR is the AM and FM sports station. I'll give 95.7 The Game some credit. They try to be sports. They try to talk about sports. Most of their personalities, giving away too much credit. I shouldn't even say that. They're basically retreads that used to work at KNBR. And KNBR is not really a sports station. They have the lamest, most underqualified schmucks that they get up off the street, and they put them on the air, and most of them within the salary structure that Cumulus dictates, which is not a lot of money. The only ones that are left making the money are there basically to make sure that the station doesn't go completely in the toilet. And one of those is Brian Murphy, the other being Greg Papa, and he's basically there because he's got his secondary job, or really his first, probably in his mind. He's the play-by-play guy for the 49ers, and he does a talk show. Kind of kills two birds with one stone, kind of a deal. They keep him there. It won't be long before either he or this mutthead Murphy is gone, because there's just no revenue. It's fading, folks, in terrestrial radio, which, by the way, is many of the reasons why people are doing podcasts, internet, shall we say, entertainment in their minds, is because conventional, terrestrial, whatever you want to call it, radio is dead and dead and deader, and survives only because it's owned by these fucking hedge fund, and most of these hedge funds are not broadcast people. They're there basically to collect and get more debt so they can sell that debt. That's the sad state of radio. That's why you have these knuckleheads that they put on the air who couldn't work at a real radio station, of which there are a few left in New York, LA. I'm not one of these LA lovers, but every now and then, you go down there and it is more comprehensive and big city-ish than San Francisco specifically. Not so much the Bay Area in general, but LA. And I'll give you another thing. LA's got pretty good radio left. KNX, KFI has gone a little bit down, but they're still relevant. They got real good sports stations too. Up here we have Drek, the little radio that we have. So excuse me, I'm drinking this bubbly. You overcome one thing. I think I finally got this virus shit out of my system, and I know you're all worried about my health status, so I'm giving you an update. But I'm drinking this stuff, and you get my mom used to say the Yiddish word greps. You got the greps. Anyway, okay. So where was I? Oh, yeah. So anyway, back to Brian Murphy, who is a shill. Now, look, I don't begrudge anybody who wants to make a buck or two or three or four. But when you do this, and among other things, which I'll get to, the shilling, the overbearing, I'm with Private Credit Union and Detroit. Use Detroit. It's Detroit pizza, and it's a shitty pizza. It's like a glazed donut, flat, with some tomato sauce. It's shitty. But he does all these other ads. And, I'm jealous. But they take schmucks like this because he's a shill. He's, but it's beyond just that. He's no talent. He's a phony. He professes on the air to present this image of which he's not anything like the image that he projects. Talks about being a baseball coach, little league coach, this coach, that. Who the fuck has the time? He's like every other day, he's talking about his little league and this place and that place. And I'm in Marin, and I'm paying, blah, blah, blah. How long this fucking guy been a little league coach? And he's always on a different little league. It's impossible. I think most of the time he uses the little league thing to do the whole dad approach, as if that's going to make us further believe that this fucking asshole, and I'm going to get to the reason why I'm using the epithets, is some fatherly, honest guy. He's an asshole. I know this firsthand. I've confronted him. He, out of the blue one time, about 15 years ago, confronted me up in Montclair. How do you dare criticize me? I'm just trying to. Because you're on the fucking radio. And this was when he wasn't as I guess what they call big these days. What do you want me to tell you, Brian? You suck. You got the job because you know some insights. You have some family relatives that have some juice. And you have this image, which is all bullshit. I basically told them this then and tried to, at times, offer a peace bridge because I needed him to plug something. God forbid I should, but I learned that lesson. Nobody listens to that station anymore. They barely listen when they have the 49ers and the Giants on. They lost the Warriors. And now they have these Uber drivers and kids that they got whose fathers got them jobs. Everybody on that station, the dad got him a job. Kobe Copes. Yeah, guy's laughing again. That's all he does is laugh at his own shit. And Greg Papa, who got his son a job, who has no personality, talks and talks. G-Pop. G-Pop, how did you get D-Pop? Oh, wait a minute, I know. Then you have Silver, who can't shut up. This is this kid who thinks he's shit doesn't stink, and he's talking every 5 seconds. Oh, less, of course, when he shuts up to let Master speak. Greg Papa. G-Pop and D-Pop and Silver, whose dad got him a job. Now they all make $2,000 a month. Great. That's a good job. Great. And that's what Cumulus wants. But back to Murphy. Murphy's one of their highest paid guys still, until, they tell him to go shove it. But he's a phony. And then he's on this stupid show that I only listen to out of guilty pleasure. With Dorcas is his name, the robot who talks as if he were a robot and tries to profess some degree of a fan. He's a fanboy, like most of them are. They're having quite the life. They get to go to free sporting events and eat free and do little ads, all the while pretending that they're personalities. Just do this, folks. Turn on. You don't have to have an app. All you have to do is have a browser. Type in WFAN, New York. Type in WIP, Philadelphia. Type in WEEI in Boston. Even Sacramento. Type in Sacramento Sports Radio. You have real, honest to God sports talk in like Chicago and LA. Even Sacramento, Los Angeles, New York, where the hosts are not Uber drivers, or were maybe used to be, but they're actually those personalities, and it's passionate talk back and forth. It's funny. It's interesting. They get good guests, but most importantly, they have good callers. You have a few nutheads every now and then because it's New York. New York and Philly. It's passionate. It's funny. It's compelling. It's real because you have real talk show hosts, sports talk hosts, and not the blenders and the yahoos and the dimwits that they have in San Francisco, notably on KNBR, nepotism radio, and asshole radio like Brian Murphy, a complete and utter nothing. I call him out because it is fascinating, air quotes, that he gets this position. But again, nobody listens anymore. And even the sports bigwigs in this town, not radio, who marvel at the fact that all this guy does. He goes out and plays golf. He goes to a Giants game. He loves the Giants. Wears a Buster Posey jersey when he interviews Buster Posey. I'm half kidding, and he's a mudhead. And underneath that umbrella of goodwill is an asshole, an intimidating fucking nothing asshole who bullies various people that he can bully. I want that called out because none of his buddies that he refers to with like Andy Baggerly or, Matty and his shitty Detroit. Excuse me, it's Detroit. Detroit pizza, not Detroit. This fool uses it, and he's tremendously unintelligent with regards to certain sports. Who told me that? Somebody high up in the chain. I can't use their name, but just use your own imagination. All right, enough about that mud. And again, I will say this unequivocally. This ripping, this calling that asshole out, there's no doubt it's me. My name is right there. In any way, shape, or form, I'm not going to curry favor with that fuckhead. And I'm angry because this asshole is everything different and complete opposite of what he tries to project. Okay. And if I see him, if I ever go to another Giants game, I'll tell it right to his face. So don't think I'm a coward and I rip this motherfucker anonymously. When I rip out there publicly with my name up there. I take a lot of pride in that because I don't do the cowardly anonymous shit. That drives me crazy. Yes. Okay. Enough about him. Just so you know, too, the radio ratings are a monthly ratings that are generally referred to as the beauty contest numbers. They don't, for the record, they are not the ratings that advertiser people buy, but they do reflect an overall trend of radio stations like KNBR, like KCBS, like what used to be KGO, which, boy, oh boy, you talk about complete shit zone. Now you have KSFO, which used to be 560, no longer. It's now 8:10 a.m. KSFO. So they fucked up, really. They killed two radio stations. Not that anybody gives a shit anymore, because basically KSFO, other than this one show, which, I used to like, the present day 8:10 KSFO. Boy, did they fuck that up. Dead air, blips, and bad glitches, and just, oh my God. I listen to this shit. I'm like, no wonder I'm all fucked up. Because I listen to everything. I still love radio. I even go on the computer, but it's a pain in the ass to listen to the computer or to listen to the radio station on the computer. Then I try to put it on my iPhone, which I do, and then I don't want to fuck up my iPhone and have that go berserk on me. So, there's very little for me to recommend other than KCSM, which is 91.1, great jazz. Listen to jazz. It's therapeutic. And 89.1, if you can get it, which you can if you have a computer and even if you have a terrestrial car radio or any radio. 89.1, which I've talked about in the past, but I really should talk more. It's the little radio station, FM, that plays all these big band favorites out of a little town down the peninsula called Sequoia or Redwood, something of that nature. It's a little school district, folks. And they have this magnificent station that plays big band and standards, and it's just great. Am I going a little long right now? Yeah. Because this, that, and the other. I look at this thing, and you know what? A few of you told me that you like to have dinner and have somebody talk to you and, dare I say, entertain you, schmooze with you. And that's what I do. I'm not bound by time. And I realize that time on these kind of deals, you really should be about 10, 15 minutes at the most. There are more structured podcasts and they have this whole production. Some of them are great. Speaking of Kate, and I'll get back to what I was just about to say because I'm all over the place, this, that, and the other. Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock on KCSM, when their season, there being New York Opera, they do a rebroadcast or a simulcast, actually, of the New York Opera live. It's a Saturday matinee, obviously, in New York at 1 o'clock, and KCSM runs it here in the Bay Area. I don't think they're in session now, but oh my God, I'm not that big an opera guy. I love opera and the theater and you eat a cheese pizza and you listen to all these great operas and Italians and oh my God. And I'll tell you what, you become an opera fan. It's just, I listen to all forms. I'm not that crazy about country or rap, but I like, jazz, R&B, big band. And my father played the clarinet when he was alive. He used to play. He wasn't famous, but he played the clarinet. He played in famous bands. He used to play actually at the Fairmont with Ernie Heckscher at the Venetian Room. And he played with Count Basie, and he played with Pete Fountain. And he played in San Francisco at this club. Some of you will know this. It was called Moose McGillicuddy's. I was never there as a little kid. I just heard about it. And Dad was a great clarinet player. Not that great in other areas of domestic behavior, but that's how my mom met him. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so I just love big band music. I love horns and violins and concertos, and not that crazy about classical, but I do like a good classical music in the morning when it's raining and foggy, and it comes good with the coffee. And if you like that kind of cathartic listening, go to KDFC or KCSM, KDFC for jazz, KCSM, or KDFC for classical, excuse me, redact that, and 89.1 FM, KCEA, big band, and they play the old shit that is so completely wonderful. Anyway, hearty recommendations there. What else do I want to talk about? I mentioned all these podcasts. And look, I do it. By definition, I'm doing it. And I would like to think, oh yeah, I was talking about, sorry, boy, I'm all over the place, right? Somebody told me, you're kind of funny to watch while we eat dinner and, we sit there and you're not always, shall we say, germane, but we like you. And even when we hate you, and they said that actually, you're natural, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but look, I'm just giving you my own feelings. Some of them are ingrained and really hard. Some of them are just sporadic. It's like, remember when we all used to read a physical newspaper on Sunday, or for that matter, any other day, but I'm using Sunday as an example. We would flip the page and we'd lay back and we would drink the coffee or whatever you drank, tea or whatever. It was very leisurely. We didn't have all these machines and shit and TMZ, and we had KGO and we had KCBS when it was real. And we had the New York Times, which I didn't know the background of the New York Times and the lack of reporting on something that little thing called the Holocaust. But we would read the restaurant reviews, and it was when the Chronicle. Remember when they had the restaurant reviews and a decent sports page and the magazine, and um, I haven't picked up a Chronicle, a physical Chronicle, in like God 2 years now. It's just not interesting. I don't even know where you get it, too. Oh, I know you gotta go to liquor stores now because they took away all the newspaper racks, you know, for obvious reasons. But so, if I can be of entertainment value, good or bad, to some guy in law enforcement or a plumber or a lawyer or whatever, um, and he watches me, great. And if I can give out some scoops and just talk about anything and give him or her something to nourish on while they chow down their spaghetti and meatballs and requisite wine or beer or this that makes me almost choke, then all so be it. More power to you. And thank you all who watch me because I've started this in October of 23. And my eyesight was starting to get really weird. And also the time it took to write a column and not get the kind of money that I was wanting just to, cover my expenses and that kind of a thing wasn't coming in. I'll get to that finally in a second. So I did this, and I was always wanting to do a show. I never really, thought that talking in front of a camera, I didn't have a fear of cameras. When I was in college, and I didn't finish, but when I was in high school and the couple of years I was in college, um, I took communications and speech and all that, and I loved talking. I never got this fear. A lot of people have fear of going in front of a big audience and all that because you did see me, right? I played before 50,000. I opened for Billy Joel. No, I didn't open for Billy. Boy, that's a sad story, huh? Billy Joel, there's three people I would pay to go see a show. Maybe more than that, but three off the top of my head. I've said this before, but it's not off the top of my head. Well, now it is. And that is Billy Joel, Elton John, and Bette Midler. Yeah, Bette Midler puts on a hell of a show. Billy Joel, the thing with his brain, but then I was listening to, of all people, Dr. Gupta on CNN saying they have these treatments that he has. And those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Billy Joel had this condition that was, thank God, he went to go see a doctor. He had some issue on stage. He fell, and he was having problems with his equilibrium, and so he went to this doctor, and they said that he had a condition where the fluid that was going to his brain was not sufficient, or something was amuck, and it sounds real serious, and it could be. It's the head, the brain. It's not, a bad elbow. And anyway, he had to cancel about a year of his concerts and his tour. And but this Dr. Gupta said that they have these treatments that they're able to do something and like suction fluid in a normal manner to his brain. But who knows? Anyway, it's just sad because I know he was coming to the Bay Area in October, speaking of October. And it's just, I hope to God that, obviously his health where he can, you know, be normal or whatever, resume his normal life. And then if by golly, some luck, he performs again, that would be awesome. And, I don't know if you've ever seen, I know a lot of you are Billy Joel fans. Some of you don't really care. Some of you have never seen him, or some of you are not Billy, whatever. Just a fantastic, he's a great performer, like Elton John, musician, performer, singer, and still doing it at like 76, whatever he is. And it just shows you that, and the guy just puts on these great, it's New York centric, but there's a lot of melodies and he's had pop, bubblegum stuff, but for which he professes in many of interviews to have been embarrassed because he didn't want to really be a pop guy. He was a classical pianist, right? And anyway, they're successful. Anyway, I just hope to hell that Billy Joel gets his health back and that we get to see him again, because the guy is fantastic. And anyway, okay, enough about Billy Joel. So what was I talking about? I'm all over the place, folks. Oh yeah, I was talking about people who say watch me, and oh yeah, I was talking about how this came about. So I do this, and a lot of you like it, some of you don't. Again, the ones that don't are still watching. I like that phrase. We want to see a train wreck. Well, good. Yeah, aren't you excited? But you're here, and so and I've asked you all to contribute and to well, same thing, donate, because I've been not only thought about. I'm going to a paywall, but even that, it's a lot of work. My dream scenario would be I continue to do what I do. And then those of you that come here to just every now and then, chime in or watch, what have you, would donate, would make a contribution. So I'm not getting rich, folks. I am rich. Lieberman. Ha ha ha. Boy, that was clever. But if I could just pay my bills, electronic and otherwise, and do this, and have a little leftover to live, I'd be the proverbial happier than a pig in. That's all I'm asking for. And I realize this is not, la boheme for many of you. But I compliment myself and give myself a pat, because every now and then I do get good information and scoops. And they hate me, the so-called legit mainstream Bay Area San Francisco press, because every now and then I scoop the shit out of them and also call them out, because I'm not worried about getting a plug for them. They're assholes and they steal from me left and right. And I don't want to go into detail. Those of you that come here, they hate giving me credit. They'd rather steal and have their little underlings, these so-called 20-somethings, who sit at their little cubicles in front of their computer, pick their nose, eat their alfalfa sprout sandwiches, and drink their latte soy milk tea shit. And all they do is they don't report. They skim the wires, the Drudge, SF Gate, which is a very fine junior high school news site, by the way. And that's how they get their news. They report it. They don't go out and about. And the Chronicle, oh my God, losing money, hemorrhaging money left and right. And they have a website that does okay. It's that bullshit site that talks about burritos and hot dogs and the best chain pizza in San Jose. It's really, that's what it is. It's not a news site. So, my thing is, folks, I am unique. Whether you dislike me or love me or like me or what have you, you're here watching, those of you that are. And I try to provide a forum, an element of entertainment, information, every now and then, opinion, every day, pretty much. And I'm not asking for a fortune. And every other site, believe me, they ask you for money. And even these so called pundits and authors, some of whom used to have a site, and now they do. They may do a talk show on the radio. And what do they have on their website? Please give us money and we'll give you a coffee mug back. Channel 9, as I have frequently said here, KQED, worth about $400 to $500 million still. And doing 27 or so pledge breaks every day. And you, those of you who wantonly or whatever, give them $50 or 100 or 200, whatever you give them, 25 to KQED. So they can put it in their shill fund and buy more expensive coffee and wine that they can give to their benefactors and business agents. And I'm being a little bit sarcastic. Of course I am. Rich Lieberman is trying just to get by. I'm not La Boheme. Of course I'm not. But I'm not, a half hour of Laverne and Shirley either. That was a good show. I just used that because it's the first thing that came on top of my head. Take a shitty 70s sitcom, use that. So, yes, I ask. And I am trying not to fully go to a paywall, although I probably will. And my reasoning is if I get 1,000 of my followers, and I have roughly 15,000 to about 35,000, depending upon the day, clicks. Now, those are not all humans. They're Coke machines. They might be, convenience outlets in the Barren Sea. I don't know. Some of them are humans. There are people that watch locally, nationally. Maybe they worked in the Bay Area. Maybe they want to see what's going on. I am the only one, folks, who talks about and reports about media, even if it's a media and a medium here that, frankly, is not the same what it used to be. I talk, I opine, I give my 2 cents. It's this, that, and the other. But I do give you a show, and sometimes multiple shows. Today I'm doing a on purpose lengthier spiel while you enjoy your tuna sandwich, your spaghetti and meatballs, your linguine, your steak, so that I could go and have basic expenses covered and I don't know, money that I can go buy some coffee, good coffee, like Pete's coffee. I like strong coffee. Or just things that I can enjoy like you enjoy. I'm not curing cancer, diabetes. Never said I did. I am opinionated. Duh! You will agree with me, disagree with me, and flat out have no opinion. That's the way the world is. Although we're a little harsher today. We have a lot more miscreants and crazy shit and politics that has gone nutty. And I'm not just talking about here. Weird things, crazy shit that we never thought we would experience, but we do. It's a crazy world, right? I don't have to tell you that. So I provide a little bit of a solace and try to give you what you like. what you don't like, but give it to you and be live about it. And I've had people tell me, and I've said this story a gazillion times, and I've said that phrase a gazillion times. We don't agree with you, but we find you unique, which could basically be translated to, you're one fucked up dude, but we watch. That's a compliment. I'm very hard on myself. Ladies and gentlemen, try like hell to give you something, even on those days when there's not a lot of alternatives. Hell, when there's no alternatives. And I have broadcast not just weekdays, but weekends. And I realize not every one of the broadcasts have been fantastic, yet they're there. They're real, they're honest, they're authentic. And boy, do I have shitty days. Like about a week ago, I think I got over this cold from hell, whatever the hell, virus shit. Wasn't COVID. But I was sick for a couple of months and just eternal stuffed up there, here. I could write a book about mucus. I sounded like Larry King there. I could write a book about mucus. All right. My Larry King impression. Miss Larry. That's another thing I miss too. Open Phone America. Much better on radio. It was great on TV, but it was great on radio. Mutual Open Phone America. Remember that? 5 hours a night. 2 hours on an interview. 2 hours of Open Phone America. And they replayed up. And boy, my sputter. I'm all over the map. I know. Oh, by the way, I don't know why I thought about this, but several of you, several thousands, millions, have asked what the deal in the back with that's Howard Stern. And that was a movie poster that I got at a movie called Private Parts, which Howard directed, starred in, created. He was the full-time. I'm a Stern fan. I don't know why. I do. He's funny. He is not for everybody. But anyway, people ask, is that a naked woman? No, it's not. I don't do that stupid shit. Brian Murphy might, if he could get away with it. Anyway, so that's Howard Stern. Okay. So with all that said, look, I will personally thank you if you can send in a contribution. Now, on this paywall eventually that I'm going to do, and I'm talking to various people, it's going to be $15 for a year, $3 over $1 a month. So that's $12 plus $3. No contribution is too small or too large. So if you're doing okay and could send in money, this is my staff right here. See that? This is my staff. This is my producer, my writer, my performer. It's all me. I don't have a staff. Everything you see is courtesy of me. And I work honestly to try to give you a decent show. And I want to say this. I hate to repeat myself. I know it's not Nirvana every day. I realize that you have so many other, speaking of alternatives, but here's what I give you: honesty, reality, a little pent up frustration every now and then based on my own feelings about the media that we have here, not just locally, primarily. And of course, sometimes I'll do shows and CNN and Fox News and comment about news sites and that kind of a thing. And it's live. It's always live. You can always watch it at your most convenient time. And I have expenses up the yin yang. I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm not even a thousandaire. You might be saying, well, what the hell are you doing then? Well, I'm just trying to survive and do something that could be of use. And I've insulted a lot of you indirectly and directly. I'm sorry, but you're getting the real McCoy Rich, authentic Rich. There are a lot of these sham artists out there who, like I said, they have the pretty little backdrops and the bookcases and all the pretty little bobbleheads and tell you about sports and think they're geniuses and they're about as interesting as a diseased kumquat. I ain't saying I am the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I am real and I give you an honest opinion. I don't give opinions based on my want to become enriched by those who probably like me and have thought about contributing, but they don't because they just can't. Compared to those that A or B or C, A, really like me and give, B, can't stand me, hate me, detest me, yet they still contribute. Those are the ones that are really, really happy about. And then see people that are just indifferent. They come here, they know that I talk about media, they want to get some degree of knowledge or information on the Bay Area media. And I respect those people too. So I'm kind of all of the above. And those people, sometimes they contribute, most do not. So if you can, go up to my PayPal icon. If you're watching this on your laptop, it's right there on the left. If you're looking at me on I can't believe you would be, on your phone, remember, they don't come in on the phone. You have to go to your laptop or your desktop, go up on the right side of my little spiel here on YouTube and on Google. There is a PayPal icon. You click on the PayPal and it will take you to the promised land for me. And you can use a credit card, you can use your own cash, you can do whatever, because I pretty much take pretty much everything. And those of you that have contributed many a times, thank you. Like Jeffrey Cox, thank you. Like people I can't name. Many of you have told me don't use my name, and I get all that. You don't want to be, you know who you are. Mr. Tim. God, there's so many people who have given, I can't forget. In any event, those who have not, maybe they can. The trolls, they're depressed right now because they understand this, the coming last days of this shit, of that. But it's okay. They come along and provide me some laughter. But the paywall, and I'll make a formal announcement soon. But I have back and forths on that, which I'll get to one of these days, not now. So if you can make a donation, I'll personally either call you, thank you via email or whatever, a phone call. If you don't want to be bothered, if you want to remain anonymous, on that end, you could be anonymous. If you contribute, thank you so much, because after all, without you guys, there is no Rich Lieberman, 415 Media. And it just makes it so much easier to do this. And I'm not going to go on and on and on. This is a kind of a leisure broadcast. I know I've gone way. What am I? How many minutes? Damn near 40. I don't know. Whatever it is. On purpose. This is my little contribution to you guys. And believe me, we'll have days. There'll be a lot of news, some scoops, some opinions. Always fun, always worth watching. So I thank you. Please contribute. Go to my PayPal. Subscribe to my show on YouTube. And if you can you find me a nice Jewish girl, maybe late 40s, mid 50s, maybe is blind. No, I'm kidding. So I could tell her I look like George Clooney. No. I was kidding. Can't you take a goddamn joke? All right. Although I am available. See this? Look at all I offer. All right. What else? For now, I will say goodbye. And please, if you have feedback, rich.lieberman@gmail.com. You can always look me up. You can get a hold of me. It's Friday. We're at the beginning of June. There is no heat wave in the offing, thank God. And it is what? It is what? It's there's that smoke and hay. What the fuck am I? A weather guy now? The weather, the sky, that gooey kind of haze that's from Canada. Okay, the wildfires. Yeah, it's good for the lungs. Just what I needed. Any event, thank you, folks, for watching, and do become a subscriber. And please, yes, contribute, and that way you can watch me and be proud.